Hey everybody, welcome back. Tim here again for Droid Life. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Today we are going to go over our first 10 things to do with the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I know probably, well hopefully, some of you have this device on the way or at least pre-ordered with devices supposed to be shipping out later this month. So hopefully this device is coming to you because you know what, so far I'm having a pretty good time with it, and I figured I would maybe show you what you should do with your device once it finally reaches your doorstep, alright? We do this with pretty much every phone before we kind of push out our full review. So while I'm working on the whole full review, taking camera samples and playing with the software and all that stuff, let's go over that first 10 things to do. I will say, this device has not changed so much from the Galaxy S22 Ultra that you're going to see a whole bunch of new stuff. But if you're new to the Galaxy family, well then this video is going to be perfect for you. Okay, so it's a whole bunch of general kind of tidbits of just getting familiar with the device, making it your own, etc. So let's get right into it. First thing that I want to go over real quick is the security of your device. All right, these are, expensive devices, but what this really kind of plays into more so is how quickly you personally can get into the device, right, and not someone else. Okay, so first thing you do is you go into that settings menu. You're going to scroll down ever so slightly until you see security and privacy right here. From here, Samsung has this cool little checklist that they're doing for each Samsung account that you have on the device. So for example, it's happy with my lock screen, I've got Find My Mobile enabled, updates are good to go. However, it's like, oh, you have suggestions in the accounts and app security. If you kind of tap on that stuff, it'll drop down and show you exactly what's going on. And it's saying I need to check out my Samsung account security and privacy. I checked it and it's just saying that it's not really happy with my password apparently. So that's the sort of stuff that you can find under this newly improved security and privacy menu. However, what I want to talk about is down a little bit further. Right under here we have biometrics, and that is where I want to head into. So here is where we are going to find our fingerprints and our facial recognition. When you first boot up the device, you're obviously going to want to add that fingerprint sensor. It does have an ultrasonic fingerprint, so not some light that's going to blind you, but instead you just pop your little thumb on there and boom, unlocks the device. Really nice. What I like to do is when I am in here, I like to add more fingerprints. All right, so let's say I've got the phone kind of tilted away from me and I need to unlock it from my wife or whatever. I can just reach my index finger over and unlock it that way. When you do that, you can actually, when you have multiple fingerprints added, then you can tap on each one and change the name. All right, so my fingerprint one right now is just my right thumb. So I can just put right thumb, save, and then that's going to be saved as right thumb. That way I know exactly which fingers I have saved under there. Just a nice little check you can do. You can check your added fingerprints, so whichever one, let's say, okay, boom, it's identified as my right thumb. That way you know everything's working nice and groovy. If we come back out of that, we can go over face recognition. So I set up facial recognition, and it's been really good so far. However, like sometimes I tend to wear hats, sometimes I'm wearing sunglasses. If that is the case for you too, you can also you can enable a alternative appearance. So let's say you're at home, you don't usually kind of wear glasses or a hat, but then you do, say when you're going out. So you will want to have your first face as like your just bare face. Whether you wear glasses a lot, that's fine, wear your glasses. But then that alternative appearance, pick your favorite pair of sunglasses, put on your favorite hat, and then have it do it again. All right, and then it's going to save that face as well. That way, whenever, whatever the case may be, and you're trying to use Face Unlock, it should work. All right, and then you can also disable Face Unlock from this menu. You can also stay on the lock screen until the swipe, right? So you'll hold it up to your face, it'll unlock, but then you still have to swipe the screen to actually open. You can, of course, require open eyes, so your significant other isn't trying to get into your phone while you're trying to sleep. I know we all hate that. Brighten the screen is going to automatically brighten that screen in a dark environment, so it's able to see your face nice and clearly. So, a few things I definitely want you to do when you first boot up your device after you kind of set up your account. Go in here, add all your fingerprints, add all your faces. Definitely something you're going to want to check out. Moving on, I want to go over the lock screen. So I got really scared when I first booted up this device. Samsung changed up something. Last time I touched One UI was One UI 4.1 on the S22 and the S22 Ultra. So this was my first kind of time with One UI 5.1 built on top of Android 13. Samsung has completely kind of like redone this whole lock screen customization, and it's good, but it scared me at first, and I want to talk about why. So on the lock screen, out of the box, when you get notifications, all it would show is a little icon, and I need more. I want to be able to access my information from the lock screen. What I didn't know is that is now done from right here. It used to be a setting, all right? So you would see like lock screen notifications or this notifications to show button. Now it's different. So you click on here, edit lock screen, and then from here you can change all sorts of different stuff about your lock screen. The big one for me was that notifications. So from here I just click on the notification, and now I can choose if I want no notifications on the lock screen, icons only, or full details. For me, I'm a full details kind of guy. You can change your transparency of that. I can go more, yes, see-through, nice. Or I can go fully non-transparent, nice and blacked out. That looks good. So that is where that is. If you're like me and we're freaking out, don't worry, it's still there. It's probably just me though, knowing nothing, and that's fine. From here, you can just click right back on here. Check out this whole new like customization thing. You can play with different wallpapers. Out of here, you can change up your clock. Of course, they have like these sweet kind of like cool color clocks down here and stuff. So the customization has become very cool that Samsung's doing with One UI, and of course this is built all on top of Android 13. So Android 13 took a real big step forward in wanting to customize that Android experience. Now Samsung is doing the same, and I love it. Down here, real importantly, we have the lock screen shortcut little tabs right down here. So I have mine customized. On the right side I've got my camera, on the left I have a flashlight. I think out of the box it was like phone and something else. But when I have this enabled and I click done, then whichever shortcut I have set when I'm on that lock screen, I can access those buttons. So flashlight on, flashlight off, etc. If you want to change that stuff, you'll just go in there, tap that, and then it's going to give you a list of options. So you can choose any app you want. Some of these obviously do require the phone to be unlocked, but from that lock screen you can access Bixby. You can enable Do Not Disturb, like if you're going to the movie theaters a lot. So a lot of cool stuff there. Obviously, very nice to have. Also in the, if we scroll out a little bit, under that lock screen section, we have the always on display. One of my favorite things, dating back to the Moto X from 20 some odd, I couldn't tell you right off, long ago, mini moons, how about that? So always on display, I've got it to always show always. Out of the box it's disabled. I went ahead and enabled show always, and then of course you can customize this with different clock styles, again different colors, all that good stuff. That way whenever you've got your screen turned off, always on display is there to the rescue. And of course you can also have notifications show up on the always on display and all that good stuff, show music information. There's really like no limit to what always on display can do, and me personally, I'm a big fan of that. Under that, of course, that time of day, under that lock screen menu, again, we have smart lock, and this is another thing that we always recommend enabling out of that box. So trusted places, if you enable that, you can enable different locations where you are a lot and you don't want your phone to lock. Okay, so I add my home, and whenever I'm at home, I don't have to worry about unlocking my device. Really handy. There's also certain devices where if I am connected via Bluetooth, I don't have to unlock my device again. So like my Pixel Watch, my Galaxy Buds 2 Pro or Pro 2, whatever they are, whenever those are connected, I don't have to worry about unlocking the device because it's right under Smart Lock. So it's a really nice little thing to do, right? So about Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. What's interesting though, if you have wireless earbuds, it sets each one up independently. So let's say you're only rocking one bud, it'll still stay unlocked even if you got the one bud. So actually a pretty handy feature. I would recommend anytime, like first thing always to do when you get a new phone, head into that kind of security and lock screen area and just go over all that good stuff. All right, next up, let's go over home screen customization. Like I've been saying, Google and Samsung doing a lot of work, allowing people to customize things the way they want it to look and all that. We love it. I mean, dating back to those OG Droid days, flashing themes and kernels and all that fun stuff. We like customizing. This, what we have now, is not on that same level, but still pretty good. Good enough for me, okay? And what I mean most importantly is, like, Samsung is not forcing people to use their own services anymore. They're actually embracing what Google offers, thank goodness. By that, I mean when you scroll, say, from the home screen over to the left, you've got that Google Discover feed. We absolutely love it. If you want to disable that, simply pinch on your home screen. You can disable it, enable it, whatever you like to do. Of course, you can always long press as well on the home screen and not on a widget. Oh my lordy. This is going to be brutal, isn't it? How about you just pinch and hit settings, and then from that settings menu you can enable or disable. Also, when you download another service that allows you to swipe from the left and enter something, it'll show up right here. So if you have a third-party app that does that, awesome. From that same settings menu, this is where you can change your kind of layout. For me personally, I'm a home and apps kind of guy. Of course, you can always go home screen only if you're looking for more of an iOS feeling. That's totally fine. No judgment there. You can change up the home screen grid, app screen grid, and the folder grid. I like to deck mine out, especially on that home screen. Something about a 5x5 just feels good to me. On the app screen grid, I go 5x6. Kind of looks like this. And then on the folder grid, I go 4x4. That's always going to be like personal preference there, whichever kind of floats your boat, I think. If you like bigger apps or like larger app icons, go for the smaller grids, totally fine. Keep scrolling down though, you're gonna have options for show app screen button on the home screen, so like a literal apps button. Pretty wild. Like, we don't really even think about an app screen button anymore, especially because I simply just use a swipe. So if you're like still using a button and you don't feel like swiping, then just hit the app screen button. Totally works. Next up, let's customize this top portion right here. Very important part, that notification bar, that pull down menu. This is where you access most of your phone settings, okay? So very important that we kind of customize that and tweak it to however we need it to be. So when you pull down all the way, this is where you're going to find all your goodies, all your stuff. As you can see, I've already have mine customized. Out of the box, this thing has like 20 pages of system toggles, and these days, like, any app can access this menu, so even if it's not a system toggle, they're allowed to like add buttons in here. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. However, we're living with it, we're dealing with it. If you want to customize this, simply hit that top 3 button right there. You can go into Edit Buttons. Now this is where we can access what is in that drop down menu, okay? So for example, like, I take out so much stuff. I don't need a constant clicker there to know if something has camera access. I don't use a mobile hotspot, so I remove that. If you're someone who doesn't need to disable mobile data, that can get taken out. Live transcribe can be added, high contrast fonts. I mean, this is like a lot of stuff that could be just put in the settings menu, and that's the thing, like, it's already there. Samsung is just being redundant, which is totally fine, I get it. But for me personally, I don't need access to like toggling on and off Dolby Atmos or sleep timer, all this stuff. Like, it's just not necessary. So for me personally, I trim it down to, what is that, 4, 8, 11. I go with 11 toggles. That way I have one page, because they always have an add button there, and you can just click that and get right into that edit menu as well. So if you don't need multiple pages of all that, clean it up. Like, I'm kind of a neat freak on my phone, not in real life, but my phone, I'm a neat freak. So just having that stuff customized is perfect. From here, you've got your device control and media output. The media output is just choosing where media is playing from. So for example, right now it's on the phone, but I can choose to have it sent to my buds. Easy enough, right? Next up is that device control. So when you get that device control, you have, like, say, a bunch of Google Home devices or Philips Hue lights, things like that. All those things will pick up from within the Google Home app and be transferred right to device control. It happens automatically as long as you're logged into the app on the device. Super handy dandy. However, not everyone wants that stuff, so you can simply hit quick panel layout. You can go show always, show when quick panel is expanded, or don't show. I like having that quick access to all my lighting and all that stuff, so I keep show always. And then brightness control, I also have show always. When that is not enabled, here's what happens, and I'm not a fan, and this is how it is out of the box. So let's say yada yada yada, you're on your home screen, everything's groovy, you're like, oh man, my screen's really bright, I want to dim it. Oh, okay, where's the setting? Where's the, like, what? Why is this even an option? Come on, guys. So what I do is you have to scroll down even more, and then it's all the way down here at the bottom of the display. Like, that doesn't work for me, guys, all right? But that's okay. That's why there's an option for it. Don't hit status bar. Go down here, hit quick panel layout, brightness control, show always. That way, whenever you swipe down, boom, you've got your brightness toggle. That's like a huge pet peeve of mine. Don't ask me why. Well, maybe I just explained it. Also under that 3 bar, you've got the status bar. That status bar is this portion right here whenever you're not expanded down, all right? So let's say, for example, if you need to check your notification history, that's where you can do that. Show notification icons. Out of the box, it's 3 most recent. However, you can have it show all notifications if you're a maniac. All right, if you want people to think that you live a crazy life and you're just popping, then you can go all notifications. Again, if you're the neat freak like me, maybe you go 3 most recent and easy peasy. Or you could be real cool and go number of notifications only. That way, instead of like icons, you're gonna just get a number telling you exactly what's going on. Pretty sweet, right? Also, this is where we can find the option for bubbles, floating notifications. Samsung has their own smart pop-up view, but if you know me, then you know I love the bubbles. So anytime that Facebook Messenger comes in and I get that bubble, I am pretty darn happy. We also have options for showing the snooze button, notification reminders, which can be very helpful. Also suggest actions and replies for notifications. We want that, right? So when a text comes in, and let's say the phone can automatically, read that message, right, and like get context and then put in that reply for you. That's super helpful, right? So typically, those things are pretty spot on for me. I don't really ever use them. So if you want to disable that option is right there for you. Also, wireless emergency alerts. I would recommend not disabling. I know some people like to, but I don't. I think, like, what if it was me, right? God forbid I need any of these things, but I want to be able to help someone if I can, and not only help someone else possibly through like an Amber Alert or public safety, but I want to know if something is going down, if there's like extreme threats or even severe threats. I also wonder what the difference is, because extreme threat, severe threat, they both sound pretty terrible, and both are to life and property. So I have thankfully never received one of those. I don't live in an area that is prone to flooding or hurricanes or tornadoes like that. So I don't know. Hopefully, you know what? I'm getting like off point, but I hope everyone's staying safe out there. So that's where you're going to find wireless emergency alerts. Again, I wouldn't disable, but some people like to do that, and hey, more power to you. Next up, I want to talk about notifications, mainly do not disturb. All right, so do not disturb, one of the first things, it's actually what I've got enabled right here, which means I won't have notifications bombarding me while I'm trying to do this video. So in order to find that, hit your settings menu, you'll scroll down a little bit and you'll find notifications. From here, tap on that and you'll see do not disturb. So this is where you can enable the part of your phone that will allow no notifications to come in. I love it so very much. And what I suggest is you set up a schedule for it. All right, it's good to wind down at the end of the day and not let all that crap bog you down, all right, when you're trying to get some snooze. So what I do is I like to set a schedule, and to do that, simply add schedule. Let's say Monday through Friday on those weekdays, I want to have my phone not disturb me from 10 p.m. and then it can bug me starting at 8 a.m. the start of my work day. All right, easy peasy. And this is my work day. Easy. Now I can save, and that's saved. Now every time at 10 p.m. do not disturb is going to turn on, and it won't turn off, and it won't show me any or bug me with any notifications until 8 a.m. But here's the thing, you can kind of tweak do not disturb to ensure that you get important stuff that you care about. Okay, so alarms and media always not affected by do not disturb out of the box. You can change that where media, sound, and alarms do not get through do not disturb. However, that would be dangerous, right? If you have to wake up for something and you miss it because do not disturb killed your alarm, that would be bad. Also, app notifications, you can add certain applications, like say I want the Domino's app to be able to get through do not disturb. You can simply do that right there. There's no way I'm going to enable that right now. Calls and messages, you can have calls from select people in your contacts get through, right? Let's say I always need to make sure my wife can reach me, but I gotta make sure that my mom cannot. All right, bless her heart. You know, like I'm trying to sleep. Sorry, mom. So that is where you can do that from add contacts, contacts only, favorite contacts only. So that's just going to be a nice big group of people who are just your favorites. Repeat callers. So this is interesting. If you put repeat calls, say mom calls. Oh, okay. No big deal. It's do not disturb. Don't bug Tim. She calls again and then again. If it, according to Samsung, their text here, as long as it allows calls when they're received from the same phone number more than once in 15 minutes. So if my mom tries to call me twice within 15 minutes, it'll get through. I really like that setting. Definitely cool. Also, same thing with messages. You can just have messages come through from select contacts. Do not disturb is, man, I don't know what year it was introduced for Android, but it's always something that's always in our first 10 things to do. Whatever phone it is, we always talk about setting up do not disturb, setting up that schedule and all that good stuff. And here we are again, 2023. Next up, let's go over sounds on this device. So we have stereo speakers, of course, really good sounding speakers, just like on the S22 Ultra. But let's try and make them a bit better. In order to do that, we are going to go into our settings menu here, and we've got sounds and vibration. From here, we can scroll down ever so slightly, and we're going to see sound quality and effects. I guess before I dive into there, obviously this is where you're going to find all your sounds and vibration settings. So if you want your phone to only ever vibrate, boom, set vibrate. If you want totally muted, hit mute. Change your ringtone, notification sounds, all that good stuff can be found in here. Important to me though, because I'm a music lover, we got sound quality and effects. So for me, I like to enable Dolby Atmos, and then you can set kind of a preset for what they offer. I have it set to music, make all your music sound richer, fuller, and more balanced. Yeah, I think it actually does that. It does a really good job. Like, music sounds good coming from this phone. And then with the equalizer, the built-in equalizers, looks like a 10-band EQ. You have different presets as always, but of course, you know me, I go with the rock. So it brings up those highs, brings up those lows, but it's gonna cut back on those mids. So that's what I appreciate. Of course, you can custom, use your own little sliders. And that would probably sound pretty good, right? Nah, I go rock. You can also, when you have the, oh, maybe you have to have headphones plugged in or something. You can also enable and disable the UHQ upscaler right here. Adapt sound allows you to take a little sound. Yes, we'll allow. It allows you to take a little test. All right, so it's going to play some frequencies, and then it's going to tweak the sound to your ears, right? So it's more of a personal listening experience. Very lovely. Also in that sounds and vibration, you have, boom, vibration. It's in the name. This is where we get system vibration settings, so you can change when your phone is going to bzz, 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 all that good stuff. We can also, obviously, change the intensity up here. Maybe you like a little thud, maybe just a little ruckus. Down here, we also have vibration intensity for each thing that it might possibly vibrate for, right? So you've redundancy in the system, vibration intensity, intensity for notifications, calls, and media. Vibration sound for incoming calls. Like, there is a lot of redundancy going on, but that's why, you know, Samsung's great. You can access settings for anything from 3 different places in the phone, so it's great. I would say, other than that, go through. You know, there's only so much I can get through in like giving myself a list of 10 things. So I always say, go through that settings menu. There's a ton of stuff that I haven't gotten to. Obviously, when I do my tips and tricks, I'll bust out the real good stuff. So lastly, I want to go over the camera. So while the camera is good and groovy, and we can go over the 200 megapixel HP2 sensor, all that good stuff, what I want to talk about is Expert RAW. So when you first get this phone, log into your Samsung account, go to the Galaxy store and download Expert RAW. That's where you're going to be able to get into that new night photography, that astrophotography mode that Samsung's been working on. It's not quite ready for the mainstream. I assume that's why they're still keeping it within this app and not putting it in their native application. But until then, just go into Expert RAW. It works great. Real quickly, in the actual settings for the camera app, I do want to go over the actual settings menu with you guys just to go over a few things. Scene Optimizer, very helpful when you say zoom in on something and you want to get like a macro shot without having to like do anything different. Boom, it's going to automatically do that. Super helpful. I like having Scene Optimizer enabled there. Also, when you put your phone up to like a text document, that'll pop up automatically. Scanning QR codes is great. Swipe shutter button, you can also change, like create a GIF or take a burst shot. Whole lots of really sweet options in here. Auto frames per second, video stabilization, advanced video options. You can enable your HDR 10 plus videos from here, your high efficiency videos, 360 audio recording. There's like settings on settings on settings. So be sure to open up your camera app when you get your brand new Galaxy S23 Ultra and just go through that stuff. Make it your own, right? That's what this is all about. Customizing, tweaking things to your liking. That's why we love Android, right? So again, I'm going to go over the S Pen in another video. I only have, again, so much time to go over all this stuff. So I'm going to save the S Pen stuff. Yes, there is an S Pen, and I will get to it, I promise. That's the next video. Tips and tricks, S Pen stuff. It's going to be all good. So that's the first 10 things I want you to do. It might have actually been more than 10, but that's because there's so much to do. So be on the lookout. Plenty more Galaxy S23 Ultra content coming your way. Until then, we are Droid Life. Peace.